Hello everyone, we are here to wish a good meeting that starts today, broadcast by Saber Espiritismo TV and other channels that are helping with this project. My name is Eugênio. I'm the collaborator and the president of the Administrative Council of San Espírito Meimei, a house that was founded by Chico Xavier on July 31st, 1952, with Arnaldo Rocha and friends. And I'm also in charge of Chico Xavier's house here in the city of Pedro Leopoldo. We manage this channel called Meimei Pedro Leopoldo Centro Espírita. And this meeting will remind us the examples of resignation and love of our beloved Chico Xavier, that was known as a contemporary person. And the greatest legacy that he has left to all of us, of humanity, is the opening of the gates, bringing us life into this spiritual world, and the relation between these two worlds, the spiritual and physical one, in this long evolving journey that we have. And we thank him for that. And we say that Chico Xavier was not only famous, but he's very important. The messages that came from him are not only beautiful, they are real. With this purpose, we start this meeting. The first meeting was in 2008 in the city of Uberaba. The second one was in 2009 in the city of Pedro Leopoldo. And we are in the 15th national meeting of Chico Xavier's friends. And with the arrival of our international friends, we now have the second world meeting of Jesus Friends with Chico Xavier and his legacy. In this opening, we'll show the city of Pedro Leopoldo, Francisco Cândido Xavier home late, the greatest Brazilian of all time, that will hold this meeting today. We offer those credits to our friend Atila Ferraz, that has honored us with this video. From this panoramic view of Chico Xavier's house, where he lived from 1948 on, we will fly over the city. The records found here in this city of human occupation are the oldest ones in America. There was a skull that was found here, and the age is probably 12,000 years. And in 1674, we have the presence of Fernão Dias Pais Lemes, and he's part of this history. In 1843, we received Peter Mund, the paleontology father here in Brazil. And in 1893, Mr. Antônio Alves Ferreira da Silva acquired a farm called the Three Ladies because of its hydraulic potential. And there he opened a textile industry, and we know that in this place Chico had his first contact with a manga. And in 1894, they started the construction of a railroad. And in 1895, this road was opened under the supervision of the engineer Pedro Leopoldo da Silveira in the village of Three Ladies. In the 1901, This place was considered a district. In 1910, our beloved Chico Xavier was born, and in 1924, the city started, which received this name in honor of Pedro Leopoldo. The city has around 65,000 people. We go back to Chico Xavier's house so that we can go on with our meeting. My friends, the second day will be in the city of Uberaba. The third day will be in the capital of Minas, Belo Horizonte. Fourth day will be in the city of Torres, Rio Grande do Sul, that will hold the next meeting. On the fifth day, we'll have the participation of the youth. On the sixth, the participation of the West and Europe. And on the seventh day, we have the closing of the activities as they schedule. And we will start with the thoughts about this main topic, Time of Healing with Chico Xavier. We will approach this topic, Chico Xavier, and the transcendence of science of life. Dear friends, we will bring this thought that is in the book called Comforter. And there is a question here with an idea of sciences. And the question is the following: if we recognize the chemistry, physics, biology, psychology, sociology as the main fundamental sciences, what will the position of science of life be regarding others? So the main sciences were approached in this question, and here the chemistry and the physics study the action of the bodies, which make up the list of the values of sciences. Psychology and sociology observes the landscape of feelings and social problems, represent the concourse of intellectual science. And in the center of all of them is the biology, which means the science of life that came with its potential to reveal our journey path. And he goes further. Biology is closed in the materialistic schools, but on earth, however, its more legitimate expressions will evolve forward to God, and its deep enigmas are the noblest to spiritual reality and to the exam of divine sources of existence. So he shows this as a key to be discovered, these divine sources of existence, because through our presence, through reincarnation, that's where we can search and look for a divine act in ourselves in a spiritual sense. Biology, unfortunately, is still very stuck. And Emmanuel shows that through those enigmas that are still here, biology will give us an explanation when it is free from this materialistic view. So let's see that there is here something very interesting when Kardec, in his series of prayers, general prayers, he mentioned something very interesting. To know the things of the visible world and find out the secrets of material nature, he gave God this body, view, the feelings and special instruments, but with the telescope he found very small things, and to go into this invisible world, he gave him what he calls mediumship. Here in this state, Emmanuel Kardec, shows us this very clear key regarding mediumship, the access to things that we still don't see through the material evolution, because things are still in the spirit. Through those devices, science has been changing many things that was called a mystery in the past, but with the mediumship we have advanced a lot in this understanding many things regarding the matter, the material things, as the spirit show us through this science, and we can understand those things better. Here we have a picture of Chico Xavier, a picture of Chico very, very little. It was an issue about a miscarriage that a neighbor had, and the father made some comments that Chico didn't like, and he was drinking some coffee, and he said, "You don't know what really happened," he said it to the father. It was a problem that happened, and the child was not conceived inside the uterus. That's why she had a miscarriage. It shows that Chico Xavier's mediumship, even though he was very little, it developed through very important things. And here, this mediumship works. Here we have, for example, we needed to have a digging operation, because as we dig, we repeat this digging, we have these diamonds. So between the richness of information, it's common to find interesting things, scientific interesting predictions that are accessible only to scientists. We really need that this science gets very, very specialized. This way we can understand better Chico Xavier's works and understand the messages that were sent to us through Chico Xavier. Time of healing with Chico Xavier. We have the other scientific works, philosophical works, religious works. To understand this time of healing with Chico Xavier and the science of life that we have proposed to show here. We have three doctors, Bezerra, André Luiz, Dias da Cruz. They are present in the work of Chico Xavier. Bezerra was a missionary indicated to reincarnate here in Brazil to implement the evangelization here. André Luiz is the one who uncovers this spiritual world and tells us with a great admiration his observations in this biology that Emmanuel shows to us. And Dias da Cruz, in his works, He tries to rescue the philosophy of soul, this relation that we have with the spirit, perispirit, and body, showing us in a very accurate way the origin of disease. We really admire his works, with André Luiz works too. Dr. Bezerra de Menezes applies spiritual science in a way he shows Jesus' evangelization through his works and helping people. So it's very rich, the way they show their works is very, very rich. And to go deeper here, to go deeper into those works that Chico Xavier has given to us, we will see what Dias da Cruz tells us about it. What happened in the Egyptian initiation, and the suggestion still happens today in all plans of our lives, because everything is a mental process that is still in manifestation. To understand the physiology of soul, he brings this mental matter in manifestation, which is continuous. Dias da Cruz defines life as a mental manifestation, and we will understand why he shows this way. In the book Voices of Heaven, he says that it's not possible to enjoy the physiology of the soul, but he says that the earth body is a machine of human life, and the mind has 3 generators that he calls dynamos. And he says that the mind, it goes through the body, and he shows this physiology of the soul and explains in this lesson that the dynamo, as we know, it's a machine that generates continuous current, turning mechanical energy into electric through the electromagnetic induction. And we have this electrical energy in a magnetic field. This machine that is very known by the scientists gives us this as an energy generator. He compares us this way with these generators of energy. And he says that the womb is the lower dynamo, the chest is the intermediate dynamo, and the cerebellum is the upper dynamo. He mentions these 3 ones in his explanation. He says that the first collects the elements that are known by the external means, for example, that are shown in the usual feeding. The second gets this material and links to the nutrition resources of the air through breathing and transmutes the dynamic liquid. And the third, that would be the cerebellum, gets this liquid generating energy, incessant current energy. He gives us this energy process that we have through our body, and is linked to the mind that generates the currents of energy. They are continuous. It's very interesting how Dias da Cruz presents to us how we can understand this electromagnetic energy. And he says that in the womb we have the production of the kilo, and in the chest we see the metamorphosis of the kilo in the blood, and in the cerebellum we repair the transubstantiation of the blood in the nervous fluid. That's where the great secret is, the spiritual mechanism through the mind, using the cerebellum to generate this nervous fluid. And what is this? What is this nervous fluid that the spirituality shows to us? This nervous fluid or psych power is to come out of the vital centers and then embeds these lights of mental energy, and they configure the perception field, and according to the dilation, which means spiritual love that goes to somebody that was chosen, and this dilation will be applied to somebody in favor of somebody of ourselves in this process that comes out of the nervous fluid without the capture of energy somehow, and we turn this nervous fluid that Dias da Cruz explains this process, and André Luiz also clarifies in chapter 20. He brings this mental energy, also explaining the same way as Dr. Dias da Cruz has already shown. And with those perceptions of these two men, Dias da Cruz says we concentrate mental power on continuous action, and we take them out of the minimal actions of existence through multiple phenomena of attention as we assimilate these kind of experiences, working on creatures and things that are around us and that can also be influenced by them. And here those friends treat this as a mental energy that acts on the whole. It's a continuous action. That's why he compares this with the dynamo. And we can act on creatures and things and be influenced. We will understand why André Luiz tells us about this syntony. That's the reach. That's how we can transmit this energy and this mental power through this fluid. And why did we get through here? Why did we bring Chico Xavier? Because that's what he did his whole life. His whole life he offered to all of us in his life mechanism, through the physiology of his life, through his work, his thought, his discipline, his unconditional love and denial. We can understand why Chico Xavier, when somebody touched him, he would benefit. People would benefit and people would be so emotional just by being close to him. Why did Chico get to everyone's hearts in a very simple way? Because it was a natural process of life. That's the experience of life, science, and this experience that made him be what he was, the medium that everything he taught, he lived in love. This explanation of our mediums describe this physiology that Chico lived day to day, and we don't have clear explanations to understand this presence of Chico Xavier with everyone, and this presence that makes Chico Xavier through this energy that he left everywhere, and also makes people emotional when people see or do something regarding Chico Xavier, because there is love, there is dedication through this mechanism that he could transmute his spirit through his physical body, giving us this energy. And we got here to understand this time of healing with Chico Xavier. We have here a word of Carlos Torres Pastorino in a book, Mediumship Technique. And Pastorino says, the mind never gets tired, but the intellect does, because of the wearing out of the neurons. So let's think of Chico Xavier's mind. He worked all day long, sleeping just a little, giving himself, helping everyone that would come at his door, and everything was because of this mechanism, because he could rest his neuron, his mind, but his mind was tireless with all the reports that he brought to us in his visits and everything he did. And the time of evolution with him, it explains the position of a few people, because only the ones that use the mental plan can keep in a very high level the mediunic purity, and mainly highlight the pure intuition, the purest one of mediumships. Because Chico knew everything, knew the thoughts. He had a very pure mediumship that he used through his mental plan to favor the creatures. So I free myself from the little things, and I expand this environment where I am. That's who Chico Xavier was, because he had very small desires, and his soul would spread everywhere he went through, because of those magnetic waves that he would transmit. Through his works, he would go beyond things that people couldn't smell, couldn't see. Many people doubted him, doubted the possibilities that he gave to people, but he would go beyond in favor of the ones that were in need. Let's try to understand a little bit better about mental matter. André Luiz is still in the mechanism of mediumship. The mental matter is the subtle instrument of the will, generating motivations of pleasure or dislike, happiness or pain, despair. The soul creates its own states of inductive mentation, attracting to itself agents that are not measured on earth. On chapter 4, so what do we have here? That we have this mental induction through the will, and that it spreads through motivations that we have, inductions that we have, despair, happiness, or sadness. So Chico Xavier was very happy, had no despair, very optimistic in every moment of his life, always expecting, waiting for the best. And he would transmit these energies to everyone that was there with him. And we don't have devices to measure those facts, those mediumistic factors. As Pastorino says, he did everything in favor of everything and everybody. We have a very clear definition of André Luiz with our beloved Dias da Cruz about this mental matter that we have to study more and more to understand the cause of our sufferings, of our diseases. And Dias da Cruz, expanding this lesson, says that the magnet of our sick thought and the uncontrolled demand triggers this contamination. The same way it can bring good things to us, this mechanism can also bring diseases that, according to Dias da Cruz, sometimes we have some ghost disease because of this virtual, it can come from the virtual world to the reality because of this negative mental energy that circulates around us, and sometimes we attract because of our sick thoughts and we are contaminated by that. But differently from being with Chico Xavier, we were influenced by the good things that he had. Dias da Cruz, what he brought to us, let's read here a little part of Mission of Light that gives us this theory that Dias da Cruz has presented to us about this contamination. When he was observing a patient, he said that here the strangest bacillus of psychic nature, which was totally unknown, they also formed very dense and terrible colonies. We will see here that André Luiz confirms what Dias da Cruz has already explained, and in his observation, he says that it was totally unknown for the scientific knowledge. And even with the devices here on Earth, it was not possible to recognize, to study this issue. That's why Emmanuel has always said that we should study biology, but through the spirituality. And André Luiz says, he goes a little bit further, recognize the attack of the vital elements of our physical body acting in a more powerful way on our cells, the ones that were much more delicate. When we have this attack that is produced and also expanded through spirituality, that would take this disease to the cells. And here we have another work of Kardec, this matter of mediumship. He has a book called The Rivalry Among Societies, and what we intend with the truth we'll have to prove, such as love, charity, and prove through teachings that you receive and application that you do to yourselves. Here, the mediumship of Chico Xavier respected this law of the medium ones that are in the book of a medium, that is to work with love and charity and apply the knowledge that is presented to humanity through his mediumship. We see the value of Chico Xavier's works through his example, because sometimes we admire, but we don't understand exactly what he did. And this law is for the ones that are in this world that is much higher, as for example Chico Xavier. We still have to study a lot about his work. Dias da Cruz also brings to us a resource that is called the prayer therapy. Also a resource that Chico always recommended to us. He wrote this lesson in his book, Voices of Heaven. And after the explanation, Dias da Cruz gives us the medicine. First he explained the mechanism, then we have to go to the prayers as a link element with the superior plans, with the support of the divine messengers, and this way we can have new mental reasons in favor of ourselves or in favor of those we need to help. That's what Chico, through the science of life, offered to us, new mental reasons. Every time we get Chico's examples, his presence, new mental reasons will come up at that moment. His giving is inspiring. His process of helping was not only through his words, but was with his life, with his understanding of this life mechanism of a real Christian person and meeting what Jesus asks us to do. So that's why he went beyond through this natural mechanism that he had in his life. We will share here an experience that was lived by this lady here, Laura, or just Laurinha. He was a medium that worked with Chico here in the city of São Leopoldo. But she had the first contact that she had with Chico. She was very sick, mentally and physically. She stayed in a room without leaving. She couldn't do anything. And through Chico Xavier that she was able to go further. So she will tell here through her interview in 2013. She has passed away. She passed away in 2021, so we are very grateful. And in this video, she shares her experience with Chico and how he gets closer to her in a very kind way and helped her overcome, not only through his mediumship, but also through his personal giving with like bigger resources. Dr. Cesar was a spirit who was very kind, a very good man that worked in the Federal Revenue, and he said, you are going to meet a person today that is Chico Xavier, and you will like him a lot. You come and I will introduce you to him. After the meeting, I will introduce you to him. There were many people in this meeting, many people. And everybody was very happy. There was no place to sit, lots of people standing up. I was there sitting down, and Dr. Cesar said, sit here on the corner so then you can see him when he comes in. When Chico Xavier was about to arrive, he was very badly dressed with his pockets full of letters and requests, things. Only letters here. So he was very big with so many letters. He was not wearing socks, very poor. And when he came next to me, he stopped and he said, Laura, can you talk to me after the meeting upstairs? Yes, I said, yes, I can. I thought, oh my God, he's such a nice man, such a good man. I felt as though I was in another world. And I said, yes, I can. I was there waiting. The meeting is starting. There were many people there to talk to him. There were other people that were there to help him. And Chico was there holding me, and he said, Laura, I want you to go to the meeting in São Leopoldo because I want to talk to you. And I said, okay, I'll go, but I don't have anyone to take me there. And he said, okay, we will find a way. And there was a guy that was a man in the supermarket, in the central market, and he prepared the cans and he put a handle in the cans, and that's what he sold. He was very simple. And he said, Antonio can take you, right, Antonio? You can take her. Antonio said, yes, I will take her. And I'm there on Mondays and Wednesdays in São Leopoldo, in Luiz Gonzaga. I went there and I received a message of Dr. Bezerra de Menezes, a beautiful message, and I was enchanted. And I received many messages. I put everything in a folder, but then this folder disappeared. Because there was another guy I asked you. He said, I will keep this folder to you and take to you later. But then he disappeared with this folder. He got married, went away, and probably just got away with this folder. And I was impressed by the messages. I found it very beautiful and started watching all the meetings. Então, I'm very passionate. I really like Dr. Bezerra de Menezes because he brought me lots of happiness. That's Mrs. Laura's testimony, that in a time of lots of difficulty, she was there in the crowd, but she co-identifies her, brings her close to him, and causing this feeling of emotion, of being close, and giving her courage so that she could have this, she could be better, she could, and through this contact with Chico Xavier, she has a new life, she has a new experience, and she tells us about the messages that she has received. Something that I found interesting. She got lots of messages, several messages, and she still had some that she could bring here to our memorial here, and I'm going to read and show how these messages were. They were not only simple messages, it was new mental reasons, how Dias da Cruz explained to us through the prayers, through the mental changes, the habit changes, that she could find her own resource for the cure. Let's see, we have here a prescription of some medicines that we can't use nowadays. But what Bezerra de Menezes says here, our little sister is still under our spiritual assistance, and we want to see her very strong and with faith sustaining this victory. Jesus will bless you. The prayer constitutes this climate of clarification where your heart will receive the necessary assistance according to what you need to have. You have to go on, you have to dedicate yourself and changing things according to the timely moment. We see the prescription of love, encouragement, transmutation from negative fluid to positive ones. Through his work, she could be stronger and decide a better way for her to choose. And also we have here Chico. He prescribes the medicines that she should take so that she could get better. But he always gives messages. Laura, these are the medicines that our friends recommend you, and here we are very firm next to you, and I count on your faith because everything is fine. Hugs from Chico. He opens his messages. There were the medicines, but also the messages that changed the person so that the person could have her own cure. And all the messages were translated into this. That's how we call the inner cure. Today we speak a lot of searching for spirituality to get the cure, because spirituality offers this change of the mental plan that is necessary to heal the diseases and prevention. But we speak of spirituality as just a feeling, but not as a reality of the presence of the Spirit. We need to expand this record of the presence of Spirit in the matter, as it was shown here by the spirituality and how was lived by Chico Xavier. Here we have a word of Bezerra de Menezes about the prayer, when he identifies a person praying through his mind. Just to understand the truth of this prayer matter, when he narrates a tragedy, he says mental vibration energy from the earth and issued by someone which irradiations harmonized with mind, and they went to my spiritual sensory, causing me a surprise by the intensity of this positive power, how he saw the vibrations. And he says here something very interesting, the spiritual sensory. That's how the spirits explain, and Pastorino also mentions Chico Xavier's mediumship that acquired this spiritual sensory, but he was still here alive. And he, in this spiritual sensory that identified Laura and many other people that he would call in those long lines, people that were there impatient, wanted to go away, but the love and the charity triggered those spiritual sensories, and we know that it was something very important while he lived. So imagine now how he is in his spiritual plan. So this sensory that is capturing those vibrations, and it also has been helping those who are in need. Scientifically, spirits have already proved it through this mechanism of reincarnation, our possibilities of cure or disease help, and also the support of capturing and issuing this energy. And Chico Xavier could show this science, could work on the science very well through this reincarnation. We have here a text that I felt very emotional when I saw it. It is a message to Chico Xavier, and I'm sure that I'm sending this message to him because it says a lot. But let's just be stuck to this worker spirit, Emílio Correia de Miranda, that has passed away. When he was invited to work about Chico Xavier, he brings this beautiful message. He starts saying that a few times he had the opportunity to be close to Chico Xavier, but he could feel this spiritual sensory in favor of it all. And he says, for the ones who suffer, the highest comforting was given, goodness for the ones who are in despair, and testimony of hope for the ones who make mistakes, and the certainty of forgiveness for the ones who love, and unexpected lights to light, so other sides of love, and for the one who doesn't know Christ, the renewed testimony of his truth. As a friend that is very beloved, that the bees would come and get the nectar in the heart of some, what Christ has put here. And you have this nectar, and how to bring those bees to yourself and warm your heart. And I'm sure that he is like embracing us, and without any nectar, we know the grandiosity and how we are embraced by him. So we are very grateful, and we are getting to the end. And thank you for your kindness, for the patience, and these meetings will bring lots of Chico Xavier, because it's time for healing with Chico Xavier. And to finish, I would like to say a sentence here of Jesus that has inspired and led Chico Xavier as a real Christian. So let's read here, Words of Eternal Life. We are here today in a meeting that is called Jesus Friends, and Chico Xavier's with his works, his legacy. And he says, you are your friends if you want to do what I tell you to do. This is in John 15:14, and Emmanuel makes a comment. Christ has real friends, and those friends that go over everything, because they are associated in spirit and truth, by understanding the lessons and practicing what they were taught. That's how Chico Xavier's life was, the legacy that he left here to us. Chico Xavier's examples, his presence among us, and we call them as friends. So this present really makes us to be friends of these spirits. So, thank you.
Ele está sempre de pé. Ele está sempre de pé. Ele está sempre de pé. É o Chico Xavier, é o Chico Xavier.